Good afternoon. Just hello. How are we? Hope everyone is okay. If you are here live, please do just put in hello to me so I can say hi. If you're watching on catch up, just pop a hashtag replay in so I know that you have seen it. So hello, Cheryl. You've made it this time, have you? Even with the rain as it is, you have made it. Barbara, hello, my lovely. Nice to have you here too. Hello. Hi, Caro. Nice to have you back as well. Hi. It's a horrible rainy day. I know. I've just been out and got caught in the rain, and I need to do the live before my hair just completely curls up and then I look like a poodle. So if I'm talking really quick today, that's because I don't want you to see how bad the hair gets. No, not really. Right. So today we are talking about dark and moody shots today. We have a lot of discussion about dark and moody, and especially at the moment, I've got my new cohort in the academy. So it's something that we talk about quite early on because everyone loves dark and moody shots. And also yesterday, I had the critiques for the existing members. And I know that dark and moody is something that all photographers love to do. It's a great thing to practice, controlling the light and doing everything. Not necessarily what our clients want all of the time, but a dark and moody is great for a competition, great for your own portfolio, and great when you get it right. However, there are a lot of dark and moodies out there that don't get it right. And the reason is people look at a dark and moody and think, right, okay, my whole shot is going to be dark. And that's not the case with a dark and moody. What we're looking for is darkness in the image, and the mood comes from the shadows and the shape and the texture in the image. If everything is dark, we end up with dark on dark, and it's just too much. And you're sort of having a look thinking, what actually is it that is on there? I don't actually know what it is. And you sort of looking at the screen going, I'm not quite sure. So a dark and moody has to have contrast. It has to have light and shade for it to work, for our eyes to draw to the right place. And that's what we're going to build today. Hello, Joofy64. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but hello. All these strange names that I'm not quite sure. I might know you. You might live next door, but I'm really sorry. I don't know your handle. Okay, so we're going to build this setup now. We're going to see, and we are going to copy the ice cream shot that I put out earlier because it's a great one to show you. Because I did it on artificial light, we're going to build the same set now on natural light, just to prove to you a dark and moody can be on artificial light or it can be on natural light. Some people will say you can only do it on one. Some people will say you can only do it on the other. That's not true. As long as you have the right directional light, the right contrast, and the right shape and shadow, you can use artificial or natural light. And so I just want to dispel that myth today by shooting the same shot on the alternative today. Hello, Steve. Hello. It's wet in Yorkshire, is it? I think it's wet everywhere at the moment. And I can't decide if the sun's coming in and out on my set or not. So not always great working with natural light live, because I have no idea what it's going to look like by the time we actually get to take the photo. Hello, David. Nice to have you here too. So I'm going to build this in exactly the same way as we have the ice cream shot. And I'm just going to show you the ice cream shot if you haven't seen it as yet. It's been on all my socials today, just to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Let me put that there. The QR code in the top is the LinkedIn newsletter that goes with today's live. If you'd rather read and digest it, scan the QR code or head to my LinkedIn and you will find my newsletter for today. So this is what we're doing. There is one apology. I can't find my ice cream scoop, and I heated my ice cream up too long in the microwave. So one, my ice cream balls do not look as beautiful as these ice cream balls. I will be buying a new ice cream soup. Why do I keep saying soup? Scoop, but it won't be for today. And yeah, they're kind of a spoon and we're going to have to go with it and see what happens. So this shot here was photographed on artificial light a couple of years ago, actually. It's been around for a while, and it was actually shot on a macro lens, which surprises me now. But I've put the macro lens on the image, on the camera, and we'll have a look and we'll see what it does. Anyone wants to know the settings that I used for this on artificial light? I had an ISO of 100, I had an aperture of f10, and I had a shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. And the macro lens is a Nikon macro lens, and it's a 105mm macro lens. I'm not sure whether it's going to need an 85, but that's what we're here for. So this is what we're going to recreate today. I'm just going to remove that for a minute so we can start to build the set. So I've used the same background that we had on the artificial lighting. However, 2 years on, my background is pretty marked. So we'll have to take that off in post-production. That's absolutely fine. We can work with that. That's going to be okay. The first thing that we have to look at is our background dark enough for what it is that we're wanting to do? And again, is it going to lift and give us contrast and shadow? What I almost see is like there's a cloak around food. This is another mistake with Dark and Moody, where we don't get that shadow shape contrast. There is this cloak, and people almost fill the whole thing with like a vignette, so you can just see the main part at the front. That doesn't work either. It has to look natural. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build in the hero. I've tried to find as much of the same stuff as I can. So I'm just going to put this plate down. And do you know, I cannot find these anymore. These were out of date in 2024, sorry. So it just shows what I keep in my cupboards. I looked all round for them, couldn't find any, but they are, what are they called? Baskets, Christmas, brandy snap baskets. Can't find them. If you find them at Christmas, buy about 10 boxes. You won't find them any other time in the year. So we're going to just put down our brandy snap basket onto the plate for now. Oh, what was that you're going to say? They will be fine, just sugar. Yeah, I know. I don't think I'm going to eat them, though. They've got loads of hands on there. So this is the first thing we're doing. This is our key part in the front that we are going to light, and we are going to keep all of our light on this bit here. Okay, in the background now, we're going to put more of the brandy snaps. I have no idea if any of this is in the right place. The little coffee pot in the background. And we had in the last one, I'm not sure, this cup here, and it's quite shiny. Can you see that? So I've actually got another cup that is more of a matte cup. So I'm going to try that today, but if we don't like it, we can swap it back. Now, everything in the background is in theory not going to be in the shot. So normally if you could see this cup, I would say you have to fill it with tea, coffee, whatever it is. I'm hoping that it's not going to be shown that much. So I'm just going to put it in there for now. Now, the first thing that we need to talk about here with the Dark and Moody is we're talking about the contrast of this is our bit where our eyes need to go to. That is our hero. That's where everything is going to. So look at the distance between here. Everything isn't bunched up together because that's going to be really hard for me to control that dark and moodiness of the back bit to the front bit. So I'm bringing that right forward, and I've got all that space in between. When you're not used to building a set, it's very easy just to shove everything in together. So we've got that beautiful separation there from that. So I'm now going to take a picture, and I'm going to see if everything's looking like it's in the right place for now. Just turn the lights off so we don't get the ambient light. Let me just add this to this so you can see me do it. Oh, I've got a picture of my cats then. Oh, lovely. Oh, that's when we had our little kittens. Don't know why that's come up. Right. And it's not working. Right, let's try again. I don't know why it's not working. I just come out of it and go back into it. It's always when you're live, it likes to go wrong. Okay. Start again. There we go. It likes that. Right. Let me share that screen with you now. Okay. So, as you can see at the moment, this is a great example that everything looks dark and dark. So this is our dark and moody. It is not great because everything is dark and dark. So what we need to do here, because the sun's gone in, I'm just going to up my ISO. I'll tell you some settings in a minute so we can have a look at what's happening. There we go. Now, first of all, we can see that the main hero is right behind here. So the first thing that we need to do is move our hero over a little bit so it's not competing with that coffee pot. Okay, so let me just move the camera. It's a bit wonky as well, isn't it? So now we've got it more in the right place. The background on this is quite dark, but we've got this really horrible light, which we're going to address in a minute, but we're just going to work on building this up. So the last thing I'm going to put into this image is the ice cream, because ice cream will misbehave. Ice cream will be a bit funny. So I've just lifted the color a bit more. So at the moment, it's a bit rainy, a bit spitty outside. So at the moment, my aperture is on 5.6. My shutter speed is on 200th of a second. I'm just going to take that down to 160th of a second. My ISO is cranked up to 2,500 at the moment, but my camera can take that. That's okay at the moment. So it's probably a little bit too far. I'm going to just try the ISO at 1,200. So we now have a dark and moody in terms of, we've got our dark and moody. This is our main hero. But this at the back is a real pain in the bum. It's light, it's bright, it's got that handle, and it's really going to take our eyes away from the dark and moody. So what we now need to do, I'm just going to remove this so that you can see what I'm doing. So what we're now going to do is something really simple. We're not going to make any difference with the settings. And those of you from the Academy that I talked about this week is talking about having your image not being the same light all the way through. We don't want consistent lighting through. We need to show that separation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some black card. And I'm now going, I just thought the whole thing was going to go there. It might still go. I'm going to see now if that will make any difference to that pot in the background. So let's give that a little bit of a, not much, she says. So let's put a little bit more black card in there. And I might even bring the blind down a bit because I feel there's too much light coming from the top. Okay, so now we've managed to darken that down a little bit here. We can go with a bigger piece of black card. We can do so many things here to make it bigger work better on that. We can block it as much as we want to block it just by using the black card in place. Now look at that. The background has completely gone. So what we now need to make sure that we do is that we've lifted our light enough so that the focus is still on the main hero. Okay. So if you see the difference there, our focus is still on that hero when we've built this hero up now. But in the background, we're starting to lose a little bit of what is there. And we can decide how much or how little we want to see of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the spoon, if I can find it. Put the spoon in there. And then I am going to just put in some little cigarillos around the side. And a couple here. Let me just stop that a minute. So I've put some cigarillos there, some cigarillos here. I'm now going to just put a few coffee beans. The original was coffee. This ice cream is Biscoff. It's not actually as nice. And then I've got a flake ready to sprinkle over the top of the ice cream. So now everything is in place other than the ice cream. So let's check if everything is where we want it. Then we can add the ice cream and do the finishing touches. So I think we can actually go a little bit lighter in this image still. I think we can take it to there. And then we can decide how much of the background we want in or not. So I'm happy now with everything in the image. Now is the battle of my very sad ice creams. Let me just get them out of the fridge. They look really pitiful. Okay, so some of these are not looking good. I'm going to try and put them in and just see if I can leave the best ones for the top. But it's going to be a bit of a mushy one today. I think it'll have to be a Mr. Whippy one. Not my best styling. Let's go with that. But what we're going to do, that is Biscoff ice cream. It's really nice. It might be a bit light though. What we're going to do is we're going to slather it in a bit of flake and just see if we can cover up the fact it's not as good. And then obviously, just to make it feel more lifestyle-y, I'm just going to do that. Ended up with ice cream on there. Let's now share the screen and see how that's looking. Okay. You're going to have to forgive me on my ice cream. I might be able to fill it a little bit down that side. Let's have a little look. Okay, let's try again. Just looked a bit lopsided. Okay. Oh, I like the dribbles coming down the front, actually. So now that we do that, this is more what we're talking about with the dark and moody. And now we can decide if we want to bring a little bit more, I don't think that spoon's showing. If we want to bring a little bit more light back into the background, we can also do that by removing some of the black card. obviously now this is so much more shown than before. The difference of what we can do. So somewhere in between would be a really nice compromise. A little bit less. So we can decide how far we want to go with that. Now, if we feel that there is too much light at the front, we can also control the light there. What we can do there is we can take another piece of card and we can put that at the front here. Do you see that on the window? So the only light that should be coming through here hits the main hero. And that's all we want to do. We want a dark, dark light coming through the middle and hitting that. So let's just have a quick look at that, if it's made any difference to the front of the image. Okay, so that's just taking it down a little bit at the front. You see that difference? I can see that the ice cream's melting. And one last thing is, if you want to gently bounce some light back in and lift up this mug at the background, that might be why I use the grey one, you can just gently put some white card this side and lift up the cup. Or we can change to the slightly lighter cup that I showed you earlier that was in there and use the slightly lighter cup. So there are a range of options there for you. So that is our finished product, our finished ice cream. Sprinklage, yep, there's lots of sprinklage there, isn't there? And crumbage, absolutely. It's still tempting an ice creamaholic like me. Yes, so there you go. It tastes absolutely brilliant. I just couldn't get the balls. So we've got a kind of soft scoop thing going on there. So these are the key things that we're talking about when we talk about dark and moody. We have to work with black card. And we have to make sure that there is contrast in the image of whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you put something at the back that's lighter, just to show this here, because we've blocked it out. We've blocked it out with the light. And you would be doing exactly the same with a softbox. You would just be putting a black piece of card over some of the softbox if you're working on artificial light. Or you might have two pieces of black card so that there's only a strip down the middle of the softbox. Exactly what we've done for the window here. Nothing is different. Then if you need to bounce anything else in, I would stick with white where you can. If you start to go for the stronger silver, it's going to be a lot more reflective. It's going to take a lot of that shape and shadow out of the image. So let me just now take this into Photoshop, just so that we can do a little couple of extra things. Just bear with me a minute while I export it. Some people will be here using Lightroom. I've always used Photoshop, so apologies if you're thinking you could do all that in Lightroom. You can, but for me, I'm a Lightroomer, so sorry, I'm a Photoshopper. Let me see if I can get that open. Right, come back to you guys, share the screen with Photoshop. Okay, so now we've got this in Photoshop. There are a few things that I would do with this. First, my cup, because I use that other cup, is wonky and I've not put it on properly. So I'm going to just polygonal lasso tool round it, copy it, paste it. And I'm just going to straighten that cup up. And while I'm there, I'm also just going to make it slightly darker through adjustments, exposure, and knock that exposure down slightly. I want to see it, I just don't want it too much. Okay. and just run around it in case I've left a mark of where I've done it. Oops, done that with the wrong thing. Just now using the, what's it called, brush. Not very good at eraser. I'm just going around that just in case I've left anything around there. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this here. And I just want to knock the color down on this slightly. So again, just using that polygonal lasso tool, copying that, image, adjustments, exposure, and now I can control how far I take that to as well. That's okay. With the generative fill, if I polygonal lasso again, I can actually remove shine. I can dull shine. I can put things together that's going to get rid of things that make your eyes go towards it. So that just gets rid of it. And I can just keep doing that with anything in the background that I want to get rid of, just till I get to the point that all the eyes are going on is the ice cream. I just want everyone's eyes on that ice cream. And that's the key thing for me. Just using the clone tool here, want to get rid of that shininess at the top. Just going to run through that, get rid of that. Clone it there. That's a really bad clone. I'm trying to do this at speed with you. Okay, so that's even worse, isn't it? Should have left it, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I, couldn't I? Right. Here we go. Okay, so there's only a couple more things I would do with this. There's markings on my background, so I'm just going to get rid of those markings that are showing up here with the spot healing brush. What I would normally do, because I'm shooting in RAW, I would come in and I would just sharpen it. And then I would look at if I've got the saturation right by going into adjustments, hue and saturation. Just try lifting a little bit with food. We can always lift a little bit. That was a +4 that I've lifted it. So there's not much that I've done there. And I can decide how much I want in focus and how much I don't want in focus. So that is my, that is it. That is my depth of field. Hi, which setting helped with the depth? Do you mean blur in the background? Just let me know if that's what you mean. I'm just going to bring this now back into Lightroom so we can have a look at it together. While anyone else is putting anything in, feel free. So let me just save a copy. Okay, need to stop sharing that one, and I would just come back into here. Remove that, and now remove that. Come back to Lightroom. Just going to import that photo that we've just done, if I can find it. And then I can share the screen if I remember where I put it. Just give me a moment. So many photos. Okay. Right, let me just share that with you. Okay. Sorry, it's all a bit slow while I am streaming. So this just shows what we've just done, what we've worked through to build up the and how we've put that shadow and shape into that image. I was hoping that there we go. I did a really bad job on that coffee pot at the back. But the difference between what I've just done here is I've took out the shine and made it so that we can see, so that we don't have all the distractions in the background. But I did do a bit of a bodge job on that coffee pot, so I do apologize. There we go. So there we go. The key thing with your dark and moody is, yes, keep it dark. Look for the contrast. Your black card will help you immensely. That will work well. Sorry, Shane, is it? Yes, helping with the depth of field is your aperture. Your aperture is going to be how it blurs the background or not. However, I am working with a macro lens, so it is going to automatically blur the background anyway, being a 105mm lens. But yes, if you want more blurring in your background, that's your aperture. Go down the numbers of the aperture. That will blur it more. It will also let more light into the camera. So then you have to adjust the exposure triangle accordingly. But I haven't had to do much with the background here because that was down to a lens. So the depth of field can also be not just the exposure triangle, not just the aperture. It can be the lens that you've got on the camera as well. I hope that helps. You'll watch back, will you, Ceci? Nice to have you here. So that is everything today. That is your dark and moody. Is there any last questions from anyone? And as you can see, well, I'll see if there's any questions coming in. There is very little there done in post-production. I've took the shine off. I straightened up the coffee cup, which if I'd have had more time and done it on my own, I probably wouldn't have had the mistake with the coffee cup. I've just given it a little sharpen, a little saturation. This is not something that you have to spend hours of in post-production. You can get this right in camera. We've proved it in the last half an hour just by using black card, white card, and using that light effectively of where it needs to sit. Obviously, your choice of props and food really helps with your set, but we've done most of that in there. So, you know, it can be done. Brilliant. No questions. You're welcome, Caro. I am going to leave you all to it, and hopefully you go off and photograph some nice dark and moody shots now. All right. You're welcome, everyone. Take care. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you all very soon. All right. Thanks. Bye.